Tell me, can we have a round robin on how are we maintaining our relationships with our chaplains? And they are the front door to our jails. Yes.
Well, we've had all the way through the COVID period, we've had a good relationship with our chaplain. He supported us through thick and thin, if you call that. And we were going up and going up to Muswellbrook and meeting him at a coffee place, and we're having a coffee with him and keeping up to date with him all the time. And it was through him mainly we got a good relationship going with the prison governor. Her name is Louise Smith, and she's very, very supportive of Kairos. I don't think she's all that religious really, but she's very supportive of programs which keep the blokes busy. And that's how she expressed it to us. But I'm sure she must have some a lot of Christian value in it as well. But it's only the last about 2 weeks ago we got her to sign the site-specific agreement. It's hard to get that out, and that's all done, and we're all ready to go in that regard. We just got the last couple of trainings to go, and then we'll be full steam ahead.
Great. Someone else?
Tony's panicking now. His vice chairman's going to speak. I just wanted to congratulate Tony, because Tony and another guy, they kept going up, seeing the chaplain, and then inviting the chaplain onto our committee. And so he's invited, any time he can make it, he comes along to our committee meetings. And he's in there like any other member. And of course he has the ear of the governor as well. He gets on very well with her. That's all I wanted to add to what Tony had to say. He's pretty well covered it.
That's a great takeaway, isn't it?
Just a bit of history. We started on the mid-north coast, Port Macquarie area, when the new jail was being built at Kempsey, and that's 16 years ago or something. Fortunately, God works in a mysterious way, and I just moved up from Sydney, having been involved with Long Bay, and so it was a very timely move, because we were able to set up our committee and started going. Now, just about all of the people that we started with in our committee at that time are still around and still, contributing and being used as leaders and so forth. So it's been a brilliant time, but because we love each other, and I think love is the most important aspect of a team. If you're, particularly a committee, love overrides all the arguments. We never have arguments in our committees. We never have problems, because we love each other. And when it comes to prison chaplains, we've started off, I think we're on about our 8th or 9th chaplain now in that 16 years. And we have some that are just so for us that it's not funny, and we have others that are very mediocre, and others that just couldn't care less. We've got one at the moment who's hopeless. I have to use that word, because he's just not proactive in any way at all when it comes to getting us in and doing stuff. But fortunately, we've got 2 chaplains and a third that has been in. And we had a woman recently who was with us, and she was a breath of fresh air. She came in and she was holding chapel services for the guys. She was encouraging the team. It just makes all the difference if you've got that strong chaplaincy, but you can't always create that yourselves. It's got to come too from the chaplain. But we've always, regardless, maintained that strong association with the governor right through the years. In fact, we were initially invited by the governor to come into the jail. He'd been to Manus, experienced a program down there, and said, I want Kairos in this jail. And he was a Christian, and that's continued on. And we've had great relationships. So you do have to keep on working with it, and we believe communication is the most important thing, and therefore we produce a quarterly newsletter that keeps everyone informed, and we try to keep everyone informed, regular emails and the prayer sessions. We've set up now a prayer and share Zoom facility, and it's really just a simple thing, I think. We're like most of you in a small community. You don't have a lot of people to rely on or to draw on for team. So keep the original team going and keep them happy, and that's what we've been fortunate to be able to do.
Thanks very much, John. Yes.
I'm Jerry Williams from Canberra. I'm relatively new to Kairos, but our region is very similar to Jeff's. We got, we were due to go for a short course in 2019, like most other places, and COVID first got postponed due to problems within the jail. Then COVID came, rest is history, and we got a chair who's been a long-term member of the group, and he's been unfortunately very unwell. So committee has been. So I happened to be at the wrong time, wrong place. I was nominated to become the secretary and the treasurer of the group just right now. So I'm on a very fast learning curve right now. So Neil, our observing leader, who was due to take over from Dave, who was our current leader, who is also a bit unwell. And so we're in a bit of a perfect storm situation in Canberra. And we, Neil and I were due to go for just one other thing. We were able to, in the middle of all these unfortunate situations, we were able to do, I think, 2 journey visits the last 12 months. I think I was part of one visit with the small team leader. And Neil and I were supposed to go for a second journey visit last month. Again, that got cancelled because our main chaplain, Peter, that we've been dealing with the last 3 years, that is our small team leader, and she became very unwell. So she now is unavailable and gone on sick leave for until further notice. And we were also dealing with the 2 other chaplains in the jail. So they also became very unwell, and they are also unavailable to contact. So we are in a no man's land at situation right now in Canberra. And Neil has been trying, we've been trying to establish some sort of a connection in the jail because our main link is gone. They're not coming back. So we have no connection. As Neil has pointed out, there's no contact to any of the top echelons of the jail. And we're looking other options, other church chaplains, Uniting Church or Anglican one chaplain Neil was trying to contact. They go to Goulburn jail, that nearby jail. See whether we can establish some relationship and contact there and go back in there. And at the same time, we are praying as a committee, as a group, for doors to open new ways for us. We can go back into the jail. So that's the situation we are in right now, and it is encouraging that the experience we are hearing from you about the prayer and constant not giving up. We keep trying, and so we that's where we are at.
Okay, thank you for that. One takeaway from this point is that you find yourself without a chaplain. Big problem, big problem. However, you can go up through your state council. The state council can either contact the chaplaincy coordinator for all states and get him or her to sort out what's going on, or you can, if you have a chaplain relationship. Now, this is why it's so important to develop these chaplaincy relationships, because when you have that, you can go to his boss and say, look, Fred's sick, Harry's off, and Mary we haven't seen. What's going on? We need are you putting a chaplain in? And he will then be on notice to actually sort the situation out, because they always want chaplains in the jails, you see. So you have other avenues to get up there. You just don't sit back and say, oh, we haven't got a chaplain. Oh, dear. Oh, well, we'll sit here and wait. No.
Yeah, I think so. We want to learn how you're all tackling and, what's the next step in terms of establishing that level of contact.
Okay, Rob, you've got something to say. Anybody else? Okay, you're Brian. Oops. State Chair.
I can just see the difference between New South Wales and Queensland. We have chaplains, as we heard yesterday, are unpaid. We have chaplains on tap. What happens in Queensland, and this is just Queensland, the chaplains recommend residents that are in need or would like to go on a Kairos short course. They then put it into the management of the prison, to the security. The security has the last word. In actual fact, if a chaplain goes into that jail on a regular basis, he can't do a Kairos course on that jail. We've got to get a chaplain from elsewhere.
Oh dear. Well,
but it works fine. We'd never have any problem with chaplains.
Rob, you had something to say quickly, and then we'll go
Just
to the
quickly to say that
gentlemen.
Jerry's he comes from Canberra, and he and his wife are both in a men's inside team, and their rule, the Canberra by the Canberra government, they must have women on their teams, and they actually go into the thing. So that's a challenge for us and interesting for us, and maybe that's where something for us to think about.
There.
If I could just add to what Brian was saying, I happen to be a chaplain, would you believe, in Queensland at Woodford. But the system here is very different. There is a board called the State Chaplaincy Board, and on that board are representatives from the Catholic, Anglican, Uniting Church, Salvation Army, Prison Fellowship, and Inside Out. Okay, and there is a formal contract, several millions of dollars between the government. It's covered by legislation, and the board undertakes to provide chaplaincy services throughout Queensland. There are about 160 chaplains. There's a team of chaplains at my jail. At one stage we had 26. Because of COVID and the injections or vaccinations, a lot of people didn't want to be vaccinated. We got down about 6. We've now got back to about 10. So every day of the week a different representative goes in. Now in Wellston, where we've been running Kairos since 2012, we're hopefully having another one in January, every chaplain there knows about Kairos, because when we have a Kairos, they come and join us. They come and sit and have lunch with the guys. And so as far as the chaplains are concerned in the Queensland jails, Kairos is not only a fully approved and welcomed, but really applauded program. So it's very different to elsewhere.
That's a breath of fresh air. Yeah, that's...
The chaplain might be the door, but the GM holds the key.
Next, who's... Anybody else would like to say something about chaplains? If not, we might move on to the... How are we going for time?
About 30 to go.
Okay.
Okay.